Hello everybody, and you are welcome to another week with us here at Python Made Simple. Now before I get on what we are going to look at today, I would like us to have a recap of what we did last week. Now, in our last week lesson, we looked at if, else, and elif statements in Python. These statements helped us to add some amount of logic to our codes when programming. Now, in today's video, we are going to try to put these to use. We are going to bring together these statements alongside our booleans, and that would make up our Boolean logic for today's video. Now, with the booleans, we know very well that there are two values for booleans, which are true and false. But booleans do have their operators. That is the and, or, and not. And in today's video, I would like us to make more complicated conditions for the if statements that rely on more than one condition. And that is the Boolean logic. Now, starting with AND, the Boolean operator AND, it takes two arguments and evaluates to true if and only if both arguments are true. Otherwise, it evaluates to false. It takes an argument, it takes two arguments, evaluates to true if and only if both arguments are true. Otherwise, it evaluates to false. So let's just try this. So using the print statement, now let's say 1 is equal to 1, and then using AND operator, say this is equal to this. Now it's making good use of the Boolean operator AND, which is comparing the first statement, which is 1 is equal to 1, which is true, and the second operator 2 is equal to true, which is true. And so its output is true. Now for another example, print 2 is not equal to 4 and 6 is equal to 6. Now this is true because for the first argument, it's true that 2 is not equal to 4, and for the second argument, it's very true that 6 is equal to 6. Now let's try something else again. So let's say 2 is less than 1, and using the AND operator, we say 2 plus 2 is greater than 3. Now, this evaluates to false because 2 isn't less than 1. That's with regards to the first argument. But with the second argument, 2 plus 2 is 4, which is greater than 3. And that is true. But using the AND operator, both arguments have to be true. Okay, so using the if statements alongside the Boolean operators, we are saying that 2 is equal to 2 and 6, if 2 is equal to 2 and 6 and 2 plus 1 is greater than 6, print true, else print false. Okay, so saving that and running, we realize that the if statement, taking its condition, the first argument is true, but the second argument is not true, and it doesn't suit the first output, which is print true if this and this are true. So it moves to the next line, the else statement and condition, and produces that output. Now we move on to the Boolean OR. Now, with the Boolean OR, it's a very interesting Boolean operator. Now, The OR operator also takes two arguments, just like the AND operator, and it evaluates to true if either or both of the arguments are true, and false if both arguments are false. So if one argument is true and the other argument is not true, it evaluates to true. Now, if one argument is true and another argument is also true, it evaluates to true. But if both arguments are false, it evaluates to false. So for example, print, I just want us to use the operators here before I put that together with the if or. Now 2 equal to 2. Now, as you can see, both arguments are true, so it evaluates to true. Now, trying something similar. Let's say 2 equal to 2 equal to 4, or 1 equal to 6. Now, from this you can see that both arguments are false. It evaluates to false. Now let's try something where 1, so let's say 2 equal to 2, or 7 is less than 5, and see. So it evaluates to true. That's one argument is true, but another is false. So now, let's try using that with just the if statement. So now we are saying that if 2 is equal to 2, or 2 plus 1 is greater than 6, print true, else you print false. So this is how we can put these two together using the Boolean operators and the if statements to make more complicated conditions. And as we go, you see how practical this can be. Now, using this in another example, let's say that now I want to save some values and variables so that we can try something interesting. So let's say your age and your fee. Now, if your age is greater than 12, or is greater than 12, or your fee is greater than, say, 500. Let's say print get on board. Okay, so let's just try this. It's just so the if statement, age is greater than 12, or fee is greater than 5, and per the variables we've saved, the age isn't greater than 12, but our fee is most definitely greater than 12, and per the OR operator, at least 1 should be true, and since 1 is true, it prints out the output there, which is we get on board. Now, on our last and final operator on a Boolean logic, which is the not operator, the not operator only takes one argument and inverts it. So it takes an argument and inverts it. So now, if the result is true, it inverts the results and you get not true, which is false. And if the result is false, it inverts that result and makes it true. So we'll just look at a few examples here. Okay, so with this example, let's say print not two. So false. So the argument that we have here is 2 is equal to 2. Now because of the not operator, 2 actually is equal to 2. By using the not operator, it inverts that to false. You can also try this. Not greater than 4. Now 2 is not greater than 4, so it's a false. But the not operator negates it, it inverts it. So we get a true for that. Now let's try this with this our if statement. So now if, okay, so let's store a variable, create a variable age, which is 25. Okay, now if not age is greater than or equal to 30, print we are cool. Print we are cool. So let's run this. Okay, so now let me explain this to you. So we have an age of 25. Now we are saying that age is greater than or equal to 30. So now is age greater or equal to 30? No. So it goes further to invert that. So when inverting that, we have age is less than or equal to 30. So now, is age less than or equal to 30? It's true. So it goes ahead to print we are cool. Now, let's presume, okay, so let's say 35 and see something. You see, it hasn't really given us an output because we didn't add any else there. Now, age greater or equal to 30. Yes, age is greater or equal to 30. But if it inverts this, means age is less than or equal to 30. And age is 35, which is not less than or equal to 30. And so instead of it printing we are cool, it doesn't print anything because we didn't include anything in our else statement. We didn't add an else statement. Okay, so now we are going to look at operator precedence. It's a very important concept in programming, and it's more of like an extension of the mathematical idea of the order of operations. That's board mass, if I'm to say. So now with the operator precedence, we have print, let's try this. So print false is equal to false or true. Now, with the operator precedence, the equal sign is performed first. So false is actually equal to false. So we have a true here. So true or true is also another true. Now we can try that with this next example, which is we have 4 being equal to 2 or 6 being equal to 6. So with the operator precedence, the equal sign is performed earlier or first. So 4 is not equal to 2, but 6 is equal to 2. Then using the OR operator, either at least one should be true, and so we get true there. But when we enclose that in brackets, we have to, Python has to perform what's in the brackets first before it goes on to perform what's outside the brackets. So for example, false is equal to false or true. Now we have false here. So what we have in the brackets is false or true. At least one should be true. So we have true from that bracket. And now we have false is equal to true, which is not true, so it's a false. Now let's try our example, another example on this. So let's use, okay. So now using the if statement, let's say 1 plus 1 times 2 is equal to 4. Now we are saying it should print yes, else it should print no. Okay, so let's run that and see what we get. Okay, so now with the operator precedence, the multiplication is carried first. So we have 1 by 2, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3, and which is not equal to 4. So then it prints no. So operator precedence is applied everywhere. Now we can chain multiple conditional statements in an if statement using Boolean operators. You get me? So we can chain so many conditional statements using the Boolean operators. So for example, we want to check if the value of your fees is between 200 and then 500. So we are saying that creating the variable fees as 380. Now, if fee is greater than or equal to 200 and fee is less than or equal to 500, should print admission accepted. So let's save that and run. So it's just checks the variable we've created to see if it's within the range we've given it. So with a conditional statement, if fee is greater than 200, yes, it has met that condition. And then if fee is less than 500, yes, it has met that condition, which is true, true. So true and true is a true, and it goes on to print admission accepted. So thank you very much for sticking with us through this session. Please don't forget to subscribe and share, and expect me next week. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.